Bruchim habayim, welcome everyone to another edition of our Shiur, weekly Parashat Shiur with Zera Shimshon from Harav Shimshon Chaim ben Nachman Michael Nachmani. We are studying Parashat Tazria together, and we're going to learn through Chidush Zayin, the 7th essay that he writes. And of course we know Tazria Mesorah is very much dealing with the inflictions of what we call leprosy, loosely translated as Mesorah. And it's a difficult, very intricate parasha, but Zera Shimshon starts with a phenomenal question. We know that the pasuk says, "Im yeh beor besaroset asapachat." If you have any of the types of sarat that the Torah discusses, or baheret, beor besorah nega sarat, you have beor besaro nega sarat. If you have this leprosy called infliction, vehuva el Aaron HaKohen, you have to come to Aaron HaKohen, or el achad mibanav HaKohanim, or to one of his children, the Kohanim. Now, the laws of Sarat are very intricate. When exactly it's considered Tameh, sometimes you have Kulo Afach Lavan Tahoru, if the entire thing turns Lavan, some of it is very intricate. You need to be a Tameh Hacham. But if you're the greatest world-class Tameh Hacham, but you're not a Kohen, you can't paskin it. But if you're a Kohen Amaritz, an ignoramus Kohen, you could paskin. You bring a Tameh Hacham, he checks it, he tells the Kohen the halacha, the Kohen says Tameh, it becomes Tameh. Says Ta'or, becomes, but it has to be coming from the Kohen. Why? Why can't this just be like a regular halacha across the whole Torah? You go to Tameh Hacham, you go to a Posek, you go to a Moreh Hora'ah, and he will paskin the halacha. Why do you need a Kohen over here? It doesn't work without a Kohen. And furthermore, says the Zera Shimshon, there's a strange midrash in Vaikra, at the end of Parashat Tazria, says, Amar Rabbi Levi, I'll read it to you, B'Shem Rab Chama Bar Chanina, Sar Gadol Hayala Moshe B'Davar Zeh. Moshe Rabbeinu was very mista'ir. He was hurt for Aaron, for the kavod of his brother. He said, Aaron, my dear brother, my older brother, is going to sit there and look all these infections and the sarat. It's lo kavod. He wants to read. He wants to sit and learn Torah, deal with the kochim in the Bet HaMikdash. That's one thing. But to sit and look at the hair and the scalp and the body and who knows where is the body, it's really not respectful activity for Aaron HaKohen. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, don't worry about it. Because he's getting 24 matanot keuna. He's getting 24 matanot keuna. Doesn't he get because of this? Sarat, 24 matanot keuna. Because of this, we know that Kohanim, Shevet Levi, they received 24 different gifts, Matanot Keuna. But what is the connection with this? That he is checking and involved with the Negat Sarat, with the leprosy. So he discusses 4 different levels of answers here, and we're going to go through all of them, focusing really on the 4th one. Lefi pshat nuchal latet shnei ta'amim. 2 first ones, based on the simple understanding of the pashut pshat. Lama davka dina legayim asur biyad kohen. Why is it given to the hand of the kohen to paskin the laws of tzarat? Because the Gemara says in Masechet Brachot, daf he amud bet. There, the entire daf he talks about yisurim, and says the Gemara, negaim, when a person has to go through negat tzarat or other negaim, it's mizbeach kapara. It's like an altar that achieves atonement, achieves kapara for the person. This becomes not just a regular yisurim, but it becomes a mizbeach kapara. It becomes like an altar for kapara. And therefore, just like mizbeach, all the laws of korbanot that achieve kapara is given to Kohanim, they are the ones who achieve kapara for us on our behalf. So here also, when you have something that's tantamount and equivalent of Mizbeach Kapara, should be done by a Kohen. Fine. You understand that. We could relate to that. We don't have Korbanot without the Kohen. We don't have Kapara of Sara'at without the Kohen. That's very sensible. Fine. Ve'od yesh lomar. He says the second terutz. The Amram b'Midrash Rabbah. The Midrash says in Vaikra Rabbah in Parashat Tazria, our parasha, Lama nismecha korban leda etzel negayim. We have Isha ki Tazria ve'alda zachar. The parasha starts with that. A woman that gives birth and has to bring certain korbanot to the Beit HaMikdash. And immediately afterwards, it discusses the laws of tzara'at, of leprosy. And says the Midrash, why are they juxtaposed together? And says the Midrash, the reason is because Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu ani amarti lecha heve korban leda. Because a person had to come to the Beit HaMikdash to bring certain korbanot, which parts of it go to the Kohanim. It's the support system of the Shevet of Keuna. And a person that doesn't bring it says, he doesn't bring his korbanot, chayecha shani matzricha lavo etzel kohen. I will make it that in a different way you're going to be needing to come to Kohen and bring korbanot. Shenemar ve'uva el Aaron HaKohen o achad mibanav HaKohanim. This has to come to Kohen. So therefore, you see from the Midrash that one of the reasons that the person will get tzaraat is because they did not bring the korbanot that they needed to bring to the Beit HaMikdash. Hashem says, one way or another, you go into the Kohen. This we see it earlier on, by the mitzvah of tzedakah says, Ish asher kodashav lo yiyu, a person that keeps the kodashim to himself, he does not give it to the Shevet Keuna and Leviyah, the holy items that he has, the maaser, the teruma, and so on, and he's going to end up coming to the Kohen, says the Pasuk, for a different reason. So one way or another, you're going to come to the Kohen, Hashem says. This is like a beautiful thing. Someone said in parentheses, like, where do you see the system of Kolel from the Torah? It's like a new thing, like a 60, 70 years old. I said, no, it actually says in the Torah itself. And he was very surprised. I thought, look, the Shevet, the entire Shevet, 1/12, 1/13 of Klal Yisrael, were basically teachers of the Torah. They were supported, not allowed to work the land. They didn't have land. They don't have any inheritance of the land, and they're supposed to be supported by the Torah, by the other Shvatim, and be completely focused and dedicated to enhance the education level of Klal Yisrael. They're the teachers of the Torah. They're the servers of the Beit HaMikdash, and so on. And if you really do the math, it comes out that they were very well supported, because just take the Maaser for yourself. The Maaser is like, imagine 12 other Shvatim, because Menashe and Ephraim are 2 Shvatim. There are 12 Shvatim giving 10% to the Shevet of Levi, and that's basically them ending up with 90%. They end up with 120%, right? And that's without 20%. It's just 10%. And tag on top of that the fact that Shevet Levi in numbers was smaller than half the size of the smallest Shevet. So really you have to double that. It'll be 240% versus 9%. If you would do 20%, which would be the add up of the other ones, it will become 400. It will become like, the question really actually begs. I don't want to get into this whole topic, but the Torah says, Pat b'melach tochal, the Mishnah says this in Pirkei Avot, Kachi darka shel Torah, Pat b'melach tochal, ma'im mesurat tishteh, ha'aretz tishan, chayesar tichyeh, b'torah ta'amel. You have to be sufficing with the minimum if you want to really excel in intellectual aspect of acquiring Torah. So why are you making them so rich? The Torah is giving them like a super support, not just the regular, minimal, bare minimum. And the answer is because if there is no kavod for Talmidei Chachamim, if the Klal Yisrael does not glorify every aspect of it, when the Kohen Gadol becomes Kohen Gadol, Gadeleu Meshelechav, the Pasuk says. So it has to be that level of kavod for the Kohanim, for the Levi'im, in order to be able to be looked up to. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu and all the other leaders, Rambam writes, they have to be, well, for a Navi to be a Navi, one of the requirements is there has to be Gibor and Ashir. Why? Rambam says because that's how naturally a person could respect a an individual that has what people glorify in their lives as well. Again, there's this deeper concept that we have to discuss a different time. But be as it may, says the Zera Shimshon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a airtight system. You don't come for this, you're going to end up coming. So therefore, it has to be a Kohen, because this is something that's owed to the Kohen. It has to be done with the Kohen. So those are the two simpler understandings that he says based on Pshat. Now says the Zera Shimshon, Od yesh lomar tam acher, ubo yetoratz gam midrash hanal. There's another reason, and he also answers the reason of this midrash that we brought in the beginning. Everyone knows that Sarat, it was a spiritually initiated physical infliction, and the Gemara tells us in Masechet Erchin, Daf Tetvav, the entire Daf Tetvav in Masechet Erchin talks about Lashon Hara. There it says that it's equivalent of the three cardinal sins, like Magdil Averot Keneket Shalosh Chamurot. And there the Gemara also says that Sarat comes, Metzorah, comes from the Avon of Lashon Hara. And it says, Metzorah is Motzi Ra. Metzorah is like a notarikun, Motzi Ra, the Gemara says. You are speaking negative, spreading negativity about a person. That becomes the source and the reason behind this infliction called Sarat, called Metzorah. Zot Torat tiyeh Torat ha-Metzorah motzi shem ra. Umi shemotzi shem ra al chavero, a person that spreads negativity about his friend, he certainly has some sort of a psul in his lineage. The Gemara tells this to us at length in Masechet Kiddushin Daf Ayin Amud Aleph. The Gemara there discusses with the story, very interesting story attached to it. But the Gemara says, Kol ha-posel, Shmuel says this din, Kol ha-posel pasul, ubemumo hu posel. Any person that calls other people disqualified, he himself is disqualified. He is missing something in his lineage. Something has gone wrong in his Jewish lineage. Because a Jew does not do these types of things. Does not go around hassling and invalidating people, calling them negative things in public eye. So says the Gemara there, Ki hai debatki b'nei marava, ki minsu tere b'hadei hadadi. In Eretz Israel, the way they check the families, if it's a family you want to marry into, if it's a family you want to do business with, be close with, how did they check? They would see if there's a fight between two people, who keeps quiet first? Who stops it? When they could answer, but they don't. And they would say, oh, they would see, check which one of them would be quiet first, and they would say, Amri hai miyuchas. This person is more miyuchas. It's from mishpachot miyuchasot. It's from the lineaged, properly lineaged Jewish families. And says the Gemara, Amar Rav, shtikuta de Bavel hainu yichasuta. In Bavel, that's how it was as well. They would keep quiet. And that shows a person that's not a fight, it's not a Baal Machlokit. He does not hold on to strife and to division in the community. That's a person that's more miyuchas. Therefore, says the Zera Shimshon, genius. He says, one more piece. The Gemara says, right there in Kiddushin Daf Ayin Amud Bet, Gemara says, En HaKadosh Baruch Hu masher shechinato ela al mishpachot miyuchasot b'Yisrael. Right? Hashem does not reside His Shekhinah, but with the families that are miyuchasot, with the families that are properly lineaged after, Yaakov Avinu, properly lineaged, and those are the ones that become a base for the Shekhinah. So says the Zera Shimshon, the Rambam says that for Kohanim also is the same thing. That a Kohen that wants to eat terumah has to be a Kohen that is from a mishpacha miyucheset. I read to you what he says. והרמב"ם פסק בפרק ו' מהלכות תרומות, הלכה ב', תרומה של תורה אין אוכל אותה אלא כהן מיוחס. A deoraita level truma, only a kohen miyuchas could eat. That you know for sure has been a kohen, and not just that his fathers were all kohanim after one another. Again, this is a subject that in past maybe 400 years has been debated, starting from the Maharashdam writing a tshuva whether or not the kohanim nowadays are all considered miyuchas or not. We know that the Vilna Gaon, who was a bechor himself, he kept on with every kohen that he bumped into. He did pidyon haben for himself, right, to make sure, because he didn't know until he did it from a Rappaport family. It was mishpachot miyuchasot. So the Magen Avraham writes in the halachot of benching Birkat Hamazon, it says, why is it that we don't give the benching to the kohen to bench first? That's the halacha. Shulchan says you have to do that. If you have a kohen, you have to give the benching to the kohen. It says maybe it's because we don't have a chazakah of kehuna the way it used to be. So therefore you want to make sure that this is a mishpacha miyucheset of the kohanim, but it's not just the father after son, or son after father being all from Aaron HaKohen. If a marriage of a kohen goes wrong, also the sons become halalim. If a kohen marries a zonah or a gerusha, the kids are not kohanim anymore, even though that they are biologically the sons of a kohen miyuchas, but now they're no longer kohanim miyuchasim. That's certainly true. So therefore says the Zera Shimshon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the kohanim to be dealing with this, because now that the fights come to them, if a son has sarat, it's a siman that he is a baal machloket, right? He's motzi shemra. He is blaming people, is spreading negativity about people, and now the kohanim all know to stay away from this person. Don't marry your son to the daughter of this fellow. It's not from mishpachot miyuchasot. You have to keep that purity of Zera Yisrael and the Zera Kehuna, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu ties this together with kohanim, because they are the ones who have to be very mindful of who and who not is from mishpachot miyuchasot beIsrael. So the kohen that wants to marry into a regular Jewish family, now they know that this family had sarat in them. It's a problem. The kohanim should not be around a person that's baal machloket, that spreads negativity. So that's aside from the fact that kohanim, their job is spreading positivity. Aaron HaKohen was rodef shalom, ohev shalom, right? Ohev et habriot, mekarvan laTorah. So that's the pinnacle of leadership of kohanim, is someone that brings people together, not someone that separates people by spreading negativity. That's maybe another element that he does not mention, but maybe worthy of being mentioned. So therefore, says the Zera Shimshon, the teretz of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the answer of Hashem to Moshe, makes a lot of sense. This is what Hashem is answering Moshe. Kshaya mistayer, when he was hurt for Aaron, he's going to be dealing with these dirty things. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says to him, Adarabba, on the contrary, Shevach, this is tremendous, because through this, he gets to know which mishpachot are miyuchas, which families are proper families, that he should stay away from those who have sarat, because that's a sign that they are not mishpachot miyuchasot, and this way, his children and his children's children will all be kohanim miyuchasim. There will be proper families that are fit for Shekhinah to rest upon them, and to be not halalim, not problematic Zera Kehuna, and therefore it's actually a schar for Aaron HaKohen to be involved with this aspect. Good. Now the fourth one, probably in some sense the most interesting answer that he gives, getting a little bit more into the remez and sod, says B'derech acher yesh od yesh lomar. Sheyadua ma she'amru Chazal. We know what Zohar HaKadosh says in Chelek Aleph of Zohar, Daf Memchet Amud Bet. שהקדוש ברוך הוא תיקן את חווה ב-24 תכשיטין. The number 24 is not an arbitrary number. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when creating Chava, beautified her with 24 levels of tachshitim. And again, Rav Tzadok HaKohen Lublin writes, anytime that we talk about beauty, it's levels of Kedusha and Yirat Shamayim. So there are 24 levels of Kedusha over here for Chava. And afterwards, he brought her to Adam HaRishon. Keminyan vayevieha. Vayevieha, that Hashem brought Chava to Adam. What's the Gimatria of vayevieha? Right? Do the math quickly. Like Vav, 24. Vav and He is 11. Yud is, right, that's a good guess. Right? Yud is 10. Right? And Aleph and Bet. So you have 24 El Ha'adam. Because it doesn't say, it's written Chaser. Now, the Nachash, with the Lashon Hara that he did, it was the source of negativity, spreading negativity, the first one. He turned this Vayevieha, this 24 levels of Kedusha, to Eva. It's the same exact letters. Like you switch the letters around, Vayevieha would be Ve'eva, Vav, Aleph, Yud, Bet, Hey. And that's, it says, Ve'eva Ashit, Hashem's curse to Nachash, to the snake was, Ve'eva Ashit, I will place Eva between you and the human race. Right? So that's about 24. He created 24 levels of Tum'ah, Nachash. So the original Kedusha and Tum'ah of the world was really the 24, which was turned into 24 negativities. וקלקל באותם 24 תכשיטין שהיו כנגד 24 סירופי אדנות. Really, there are 24 different ways of writing the name of Adnut. Without getting into it, I have all of them figured out over here. With time, I would bore you with it. But it's like 24 different Sirufei Adnut that exist. And that's the 24 levels of Kedusha. And says the Zera Shimshon, the Nachash, destroyed that and turned that to negativity with his Lashon Hara, with his spreading of negativity. ובחטא זה מתקבר הנחש ב-24 זיני דמעשה אבותא כדאיתא בזוהר. Really, the truth is, the Midrash also says this. The Midrash says there are 24 different types of negaim. Right? So really, this is Kaftor, it fits so perfectly that the negaim are exactly the levels of tum'ah and negativity that were brought to this world by Nachash. It's really the first thing that happened as the first sin in the world. And therefore, וכל כוונתנו בעסק התורה הוא לבטל כוחה של אלו 24 שכבר הנחש הטילם בחווה ובזרעה. With our involvement with Torah and with the mitzvot, all we're trying to do is to reverse this curse of Eva to positivity, to what it used to be. That's the tikkun. Olam ha-tikkun is to fix what was ruined by Adam and Chava through the chet ha-nachash. Someone that keeps Shabbat is saved from them. As the Gemara says this really in Masechet Shabbat, Taf Kuf Yud Chet, because on Shabbat the mazikim were not in existence. By the way, how many hours is a day? 24. Whoa. It's not arbitrary. It is the 24 hours that there is no mazikim, כמו שאמרו ז"ל, in Sifrim, Parashat Bechukotai, al mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat. When we say mizmor shir leyom HaShabbat, this is the mizmor of Shabbat. Adam HaRishon said when Shabbat came in. Zeu sheramaz hakatuv. This is the remez that says veshamru. Take a look at the Rashi Tevot. Veshamru bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat Rashi Tevot ve'eva. Right? Veshamru bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat is exactly those words that Nachash created. Ve'eva, ve'evieha is going back to that original sin. The tikkun of that is those 24 hours of Shabbat kept properly, attaching yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when the mazikim are not in effect. Another reason, why did we have to stay 40 years in the Midbar and didn't get right away to go to Eretz Yisrael and build the Beit HaMikdash and end the whole Galut and Mashiach will come, another Lashon Hara, right? The Chet HaMeraglim. That's exactly what happened. Every scenario fits the narrative. Says the Zera Shimshon, Uchtiv, and it says, Ufigrechem in the curse that they got, Ufigrechem, again, pay attention to the Rashi Tevot, Ufigrechem Vav, Atem Aleph, Yiplu Yud, Bamidbar Bet, Hazeh Hey, Rashi Tevot Ve'eva. Same thing. They were elevated to the level of Adam Arishon before the sin. They messed up with the Lashon Hara, Ve'eva. Went back. They followed the Tum'ah of Nachash again with that negativity, spreading negativity of Mesorah, of Lashon Hara, Ubishvul Lashon Hara, Nami Harav Habayit. And we of course know that the second Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of Lashon Hara, and the whole Gemara in Masechet Gitin Daf Nun Hey and Nun Vav and on, the story of Kamsa, Bar Kamsa, going and saying Lashon Hara to the Romans, the whole thing comes because of Lashon Hara, and therefore in Echa also, that we mourn the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, Echa Yashva Badad Ha'ir, Eva. Same exact thing. ראשי תיבות איבה, ועיין במגלי עמוקות באופן ל"ט. Again, there's much more that could be said here. We're going to skip some of it, but just to end this in a proper way, the Midrash says there are 24 mine shchin. There are 24 types of shchin, of boils. Right? How many mishmarot of Kohanim did we have? 24. Exactly 24. 24 mishmarot of Kohanim. And the Kohen that brings it's all really Kohanim ochlim v'abalim mitkaprim, right? Which again, it says the Gemara says also there are 24 types of shchin or sarat of the infliction, and you have 24 groups of Kohanim Kodesh connected that to offset the tum'ah that is caused by the averot of the people. So therefore, now it's in a deeper sense, the Kohanim have to be the people to deal with negaim, because they are the source of kedusha, of attachment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, those whose life is dedicated to the Torah, and they really are there to offset the levels of tum'ah that are there. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is answering Moshe Rabbeinu and says, no, this is why you have the 24. Because there's the 24 levels of tum'ah that causes this, and they have the 24 levels of kedusha to offset this. So that has to be done by Aaron ubanav. And probably something that he doesn't say over here, but to take this home, really a message for ourselves, is the fact that how many Sifrei Tanakh do we have? 24. It doesn't bring this. But there are 24, the Kaf Dalet Sifrei Tanakh. And that's the source of our Kedusha. And probably that's why it says, strangely in the Pasuk, Zot Torat HaMesorah. Why do you have to say Torat HaMesorah? Zot Torat HaMesorah. Because if you want to offset the Tum'ah of Mesorah, even when you don't have the Beit HaMikdash, that is really with the Kaf Dalet Sifrei Tanakh. The greatness of Kohanim was not just because they were born from Aaron HaKohen, it's because Kishiftei Kohen Yishmeru Da'at, because they were the learners of the Torah. Torah Yebakshu Mipiu, Ki Malach Hashem Tzvakotu. He is the teacher of Torah. Hence the Kedusha of a Kohen. And now that you don't have Kohanim, but we do have the Torah. We become a Kohen, it just means a person that holds an office. So he says, Bnei David HaKohanim. David was not a Kohen. That's what I'm sure Yehuda. Kohen means a person that has a goal to follow, an office to hold. And we become Kohanim. Vatem tihyuli, the Pasuk says, you shall be for me, all of you. Mamlechet Kohanim, vegoy kadosh. You are Mamlechet Kohanim, you're a nation of priests, a goy kadosh, a holy nation. How do you do that? With the Kaf Dalet Sifre Tanakh, with being involved and submerged in the Torah, in the Limud Torah, connected to it. It's not something that we do. It is who we are. Every moment of the day that we have time, automatically we're involved with the Torah. It's not something that we check a box. Okay, I went to my Amud Yomi, I did the daf. It is something that it defines who we are. We're connected with, and a person that gets connected with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that way, Vatem hadvekim b'Hashem Elokechem, when you're davek with Hashem, chayim kulechem hayom. Mesorah is one of the four things that's called death. But pursuit of vitality is pursuit of Hashem. When you davek to Hashem, chayim kulechem hayom, is the exact opposite of Mesorah. Is real life when a person is connected with Hashem. So really, something that we could today, in 2024, we could relate to. We could attach ourselves with this message of the 24 levels of Kedusha. It's not just Shabbat. Shabbat is amazing. A person that learns in Shabbat, and Ben Ish Chai brings from the Mikubalim, is 1,000 times more valuable than learning, in a regular day. 1 hour will be like almost 40 days of non-stop learning. But even during the week, when a person is connected with the Torah, you're connected to the source of life. With those 24, you're reversing the chet, the original sin of Adam HaRishon and Chava, bringing the ultimate tikkun to the world. Like the pasuk says, "Im lo briti yomam v'layla chukot shamayim v'aretz lo samti." The world would not stand without the Torah, and that's our zchut to pursue, Be'ezrat Hashem, and to merit to be connected with the source of our life. V'atem hadvekim b'Adonai Elohechem chayim kulchem hayom.